Well, we continue our focus on the UK elections. We're now joined live from the UK by SABC News Correspondent John Bevir. John, these are being viewed as the most crucial elections that could see the Conservatives' 14-year rule brought to an end. How has voting been progressing with such high stakes?
Yeah, there's certainly a huge amount of interest here. As you say, that it has been many, many years of Conservative rule, and a lot of people, to put it quite frankly, are fed up. Some people I've been talking to this morning say that they are going to be voting against the Conservatives rather than really being supporting anybody else. Certainly outside the polling stations that I've seen this morning, there have been plenty of people looking to vote. In terms of the turnout itself, there is some question as to what level the turnout will be, because the polls here have shown there to be, if the polls are to be believed, of course, a very strong Labour victory. So there is a worry that maybe the turnout will be low because people think this is already a done deal. That's certainly something that the Labour Party has been trying to counter. Their leader, the man who hopes to be the next Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, when he was legally allowed to still be talking about the election yesterday, he was saying that people need to get out and vote. We have these rules in the UK for the UK broadcasters. They're very limited about what they can say today because they can't be seen to be influencing the vote whilst the polls are open. But certainly a huge amount of interest, all eyes on whether the end of this 14 years of Conservative government is coming and whether Labour are going to get the win that so many people think they will.
A very interesting statement that you made, that people will today be voting against the Conservatives, not necessarily in support of the Labour Party. Which issues have citizens stated they want the incoming government to urgently address?
Certainly the economy is always the big one. I've been speaking to various political experts since the election campaign has been underway. It's been going on for 6 weeks. And constantly the thing that people have been coming back to about what is one of their 3 most important topics: the economy, cost of living, things like the National Health Service, and the ability for people here to see a doctor in a timely fashion. These are all things that people are deeply concerned about. So certainly those are the things that the next government need to come in and deal with. And as we were saying there about people voting against the Conservatives, they feel that the Conservatives, some of them certainly, feel that the Conservatives have let them down when it comes to managing the economy, this cost of living crisis, high inflation, all of these issues that they think the Conservatives are to blame for, and they are looking to strong leadership. So the message from the more left-wing Labour Party has been one of change. They say it's time for change, but people need to vote for it. They have been a huge way ahead in the polls ever since polling started when the election was called 6 weeks ago. But they are urging people to get out and vote. And if you believe those polls, we could see the worst ever Conservative result since 1906. It could be an absolute wipeout for them if the polls are to be believed. But the polling is going on for several hours yet. It closes tonight, 10 o'clock local time here in the UK. We will get an exit poll 1 minute after that, where we will get a very clear idea of who's won. But then the counting starts overnight and we will get some definite results going into the early hours of this morning.
So it seems really the issues are more around the bread and butter. But what would a Labour Party win mean for the Gaza war? Because one would still assume that foreign policy has also been quite a talking point in the UK, specifically with Keir Starmer's views around Gaza.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think foreign policy is vitally important. But as you were saying there, it's those bread and butter issues that actually a lot of people here are voting on. I would imagine more people will be voting today on the levels of tax they are paying and the quality of the public services here more than they are voting on foreign policy. Certainly, that's what comes out in the polls when people are asked about the issues that matter most to them before they vote. In terms of what it means for Gaza, the Labour Party have said they will continue with the current UK policy of trying to help negotiate a ceasefire. That certainly is something that they want to keep pushing on. Remember, of course, it was the last election 5 years ago. Jeremy Corbyn, seen as anti-Israeli, he didn't do very well in the polls. The Labour Party had this ongoing issue to do with anti-Semitism as well. All of that has gone. We've had a complete change in the Labour Party at the top. So this is a different Labour Party from 5 years ago. It's a Labour Party who very much hope they can win if people go out and vote as they've said they're going to in the polls, we will be seeing a Labour Prime Minister tomorrow morning, if that's the case. And then for a lot of people, it's the scale of their victory that remains to be seen. But of course, until the polls close, there are no done deals.
All right, John, thank you very much for your time. That was SABC News Correspondent John Bevir talking us through the momentous UK elections. Now, after the break, we speak to the Public Protector's Office on a number of investigations they've conducted. Stay with us.